Hello everyone and welcome to my bullet journal flip through. So since I started posting about becoming a bullet journalist and really jumping into this, I've gotten so many questions and requests to do a video just like this one. So that's what I'm gonna do. I know a lot of you wanted me to film how I set everything up, going through me working on laying out all my spreads and everything like that, but to be completely honest, I'm still so new to bullet journaling, and it's something that's really big, like really become an activity that I do just for me. It's pretty therapeutic at this point. I'm not quite ready to start filming those kinds of longer setup videos like I know a lot of people do. A lot of plan with me's that are really popular, but I do kind of want to show you guys what I'm working with and how I've been using my bullet journal so far. I did a separate blog post on the materials that I use to bullet journal, so everything from the pens and markers that I love to the actual notebook itself. So if you're interested in those, head to that blog post. It will be linked in the description as always, and I will also link the notebook and probably like my top 1, 2, or 3 favorite pens that I've been using, which include kind of these Zebra midliners and some of the Crayola super tips. So just a couple of things that I've really been loving to bring this bullet journal to life. But let's get started with the flip through, starting with some of the yearly pages that I set up. So I'm going to move some of this out of my way. And now let's get started. So first things first, I'm obsessed with this journal. I love it so much that I actually went ahead and bought a second one so that once this fills up, I know I can use the same journal again. It's the Lomome Dot Grid A5 journal. I got it on Amazon. I think it was around $13 or $14, which for the quality of paper in here, the number of pages you get, and as far as bullet journal standards go, that is a steal. So I picked this up on Amazon and I've been loving it. The paper quality is just unbeatable. It's thick premium paper. I haven't experienced any kind of bleeding or ghosting, which is when you write on one page and it doesn't bleed all the way through, but you can kind of see a shadow of the page before. I've rarely experienced any of that, even when using some of these kind of more bleedable markers like these Crayola super tips. You would think that these would be easily prone to bleeding or ghosting, and I haven't had any problems with it so far. So I definitely would recommend this notebook, and it will be linked in the description. So starting out, because I did start bullet journaling in March instead of in January, I didn't feel the need to do a full yearly setup. I kind of regretted that a few days after I started using my bullet journaling more for my daily, weekly, and monthly planning, just because I wish I would have the full experience in here. So I've thought about maybe just starting completely over and doing a full yearly setup, and I've kind of decided I don't want to do that because it seems like a lot of hassle for a little bit of gain, but it's definitely something that I've thought about, and I would recommend, even if you start your bullet journal late, to kind of put your whole year in here so you feel like you really are getting the full Bujo experience. So when you first open, it's just a really quick contact page. Then I did a quote on this first page that just says, "Memories are the key, not to the past, but to the future." Because at this point, remember, I was only going to be using my journal for memory keeping, not for planning. And then I did a year at a glance calendar. These are pretty common in bullet journaling. You just write literally every month of the year and every day. This has been super helpful when I'm setting up my monthly spreads to kind of see like, oh, April starts on Sunday this year, or there are 6 weeks total in April. And then, you know, it's just nice to have it at the front of your journal to flip through whenever you need it. It was actually way more time consuming to set up. On the next page, I wrote out my goals for the year. I only had kind of like 5 key goals that I really wanted to focus on, and I thought that having them in my journal to kind of flip back to kind of, you know, align how I'm planning and what I'm working on with what I really need to accomplish for the year seemed like a good idea to me. So on the next page, I left a spot on a layout called Big Wins. So this is where I want to put any like huge successes that I have this year, so that I'm able to kind of go back and reflect on what went really, really well in 2018. I haven't filled this page out yet, but there are 2 moments I want to add here. I want to cut out like some small photos, maybe like some stickers or quotes, and just make sure I'm really memorializing those big wins that I had so far in 2018. Then the next page is where I want to document all of the trips that I took. So I just use a stencil to draw this little like corner sign here, a little airplane stencil, and a little Eiffel Tower, which I did at the beginning of March. I drew this Eiffel Tower on this page, and then a few months later found out I would be going to Paris with my best friend. So talk about manifesting your life. And then the next page and the last page in kind of my yearly type setup is just going to be books that I loved, where I'm going to write down my top books of the year, which will be a video that I do later on in the year. So that's all I really needed for my yearly setup. And like I said, I didn't go too in depth. I really wanted to kind of focus on the memory planning and documenting things more so than, you know, daily, weekly planning. But that quickly changed once I kicked off my March spread. So this is the simple March cover sheet I did. It just says March 2018 with some different colored dots. I kept a really simple color scheme. I'm not super artistic, and I really wanted to focus more on function than I did creativity. And then I just jumped right in. I wrote down all the goals I had for the month. I wrote this list called self-care must-dos, which was really great to have and flip back to. Just little things to remind myself to do each month, like giving myself time to brainstorm, protecting my energy, staying hydrated, and giving myself time to practice active meditation. And then on the next page, this is my favorite page in my bullet journal, and I brought it over into the next month. It is my one line a day sheet. I started it, like I said, on the 8th because I really didn't think I was going to be using my bullet journal every day until I realized how amazing this system is, where you basically just write one line for every day of the month, and then each day you write just one line a day. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. You could use it like a journal, a reflection for the day, something that you need to remember, something that you want to manifest. So I wrote things like that on these 2 pages, and then I just have a quote here that says, "You are way more prepared for what lies ahead." The next page was just a really simple brain dump page where I could just jot down quick notes and things that were just on my mind that didn't really have to be put into a plan, but were things I wanted to kind of work on and build out. And then the next page are my March favorites, and I wanted to write these down because I want to start doing favorite videos each month. So as I would discover a new product or notebook or book or anything, beauty products, candles, everything, I threw it onto this page so I could have all of that in one place for when I'm ready to put those videos together. The next page are book related. So this is my March TBR, where I listed all the books I either need to review or wanted to get to this month. And honestly, just having this page made it seem like it wasn't like a high pressure TBR. I didn't have to stick to this exclusively, but it gave me a really easy way to decide what I wanted to read next. And I found myself coming back to this list all the time. And underneath my March TBR, which is the top half of this page, on the bottom half are the books that I actually ended up reading. So I read 5 books in total in March, and then I just wrote them all here so I knew what I was doing. My blog post that wraps up what I read for the month and all that, it would be really easy to figure out what books I finished. This next page is really similar to the page I showed at the beginning of my bullet journal called Big Wins, which are going to be my 2018 highlights. Every month I'm documenting any highlights. I have some notes here, but I need to cut out the pictures I took for these. So each month I'm going to go through and just reflect on how the month went, what were the highlights, document those, and then I can pull from each of these monthly highlight pages to put together that big 2018 highlights page. And then this page was my first ever weekly spread. This was my birthday week. It was March 12th through 18th, and I just went and made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes on the page, one for each day of the week, another box for next week where I could kind of write out what was happening in the week coming up so I can have time to prep for it, and then any notes that I needed to have were down here in this little section. And I've really had a lot of fun playing around with what weekly spread works best for me. So the next week I tried one that was really similar. Get this posted out of the way. Only I realized in this spread, because everything was just one box, it was hard to kind of differentiate between tasks that I need to do and appointments I needed to make or meetings I needed to attend. So in this spread, I made smaller boxes like this. And the smaller boxes that had the date and day of the week above it were where I wrote down any appointments that I had or deadlines. Anything with a date and time attached to it I put here, and then I use the column next to it as my running task and to-do list. And then this bottom section here I wrote next week, and that was where I planned out the week ahead, anything I need to remember before I started planning away. These 2 pages came between my last weekly and the next weekly just because there was something I needed to focus on. So this page is a checklist for everything I needed to do to get my passport. And this page is called Creative Questions. And I was just going through a time where I was feeling really unclear about the business offerings that I was providing, and I wanted to rethink that. So I wrote out some questions that I really needed to ask and answer myself, and then I just took a day to really sit and get clear on these questions and answers and figure out what I wanted to do next. And then this was my last weekly spread of March. I have just a vertical column style layout, one for each day of the week and then one for the weekend. On the bottom here, I have some boxes that help me just organize everything I need for that week. So this box here is all of my blog posts that were going up and on which days, so Monday through Sunday. This little box here are my videos I needed to either film or edit or upload on specific dates. This box is for next week, so whatever is going up next week that I need to worry about. And then this last little section here were for notes, just things that I was thinking of that I might want to start planning or adding tasks to in the week ahead. And it's funny, this header here, it's probably one of my favorite weekly headers. I love the black with the white writing. I just used a white gel pen to get that, and I did that because I made a mistake. I think I wrote the wrong dates up here, and I needed to kind of fix that without having to just rip the page or glue the page together and do a new page. So this is what I opted to do, and I think it actually looks really cute. So that's how I used my bullet journal in the last couple of weeks. I've been really loving it. I definitely see myself using this system throughout the year. As of now, I have retired my Happy Planner, and I'm just going to stick with this system. I mean, the notebook is so small, just to throw this in my purse and take it to work or to meetings or out to a coffee shop and getting work done, it's like a breeze. So I'm going to be uploading more bullet journal type videos in the future, so make sure you subscribe for those. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.